Hey Cancer, and welcome to your basically bi-weekly reading that I've been doing. This is the new to full moon. We're doing a different spread this time because we have a lot of astrology going on this week, which you're probably aware of. I'm not going to speak about it too long, but I am going to mention a couple of things that I think are really big highlights that are definitely important to pay attention to. I was feeling that card there. So I'm going to lay out all of our cards first, and then we'll really dive in to it. So we're sticking with this particular deck. It just seems like it's been really helpful for people. So pulling out also just what kind of like shadow can we be looking at for Cancers during this period of time. And because we are still working with the the new moon to the full moon with that waxing energy of the moon, we want to take a look at interesting. Okay. So we want to take a look at what still seeds to be planting. I'll get to that in a moment because I have some things to say. You heard me glitch for a second there. I'm like, yeah, we're planting seeds, but let's be mindful about like when exactly we're doing that during this period of time. So let's also get some spiritual advice. We're going to take a look at what spiritual advice is being offered for you with regard to this particular shadow that's coming up. Okay. And also, all right, so Cancer, let's take a look here, Cancer, at what is going on for you. So we have, let's just mention really quickly what's happening in the astrology, right? So we have the eclipse happening on the same day as the new moon. It is a new moon solar eclipse, and it is happening in Aries in tropical astrology, and also in Aries as it happens in sidereal. So whenever that kind of comes together like that, where it's in the same sign for both systems of astrology, I see that as like an underscore highlight, right? Like I'm just like, I really pay attention, flashing lights there. So that's happening on the 19th at, what time is it? It's at 9:13 p.m. Pacific time, right? And then just a couple days later on April 21st, we have Mercury going retrograde at 1:35 a.m. Pacific time. These are all Pacific times. And that's happening in Taurus in tropical, and it's happening in Aries in sidereal. If you're not familiar with sidereal astrology, don't worry. Most of the time, whenever you're watching anything that has to do with astrology, unless they specifically say they're doing sidereal, they're doing tropical. So that's what most people are familiar with. So yeah, so just want to mention that there. Don't worry if you don't know what sidereal is. So that to give you a sense of like how big what is happening this week, like what's actually going down, right? It's not just a new moon with that waxing energy building up to the full moon and planting your seeds. I would say because we have on the same day as the new moon at the same time, we're having that solar eclipse. That is not a time to do your planting seeds, to do your manifestation, to do your rituals and spell work and setting intentions and all the other things. During the eclipse periods, they are such intense periods that are very marked, right? There's a reason why most people don't necessarily have the best associations with it. Sometimes it heralds like beautiful, amazing beginnings, but it also like removes things that maybe we didn't want to have removed, or we weren't aware needed to be removed, but it's like ushering in, ushering out, and that's eclipse season. And we have 2 of those per year. Luckily, it's only 2 of them per year. So we're in eclipse season. This is the beginning of it. And the energy when the sun, when in this particular case, but anytime when the light is eclipsed, right? When the light is being eclipsed, it creates and casts shadows, and it's a very chaotic time. Like when the energy comes together that way, the energies are very chaotic. There's no controlling that kind of energy. It's just can be very messy. So it's not really a great time to do that. It's kind of more of a time to just like chill, if you can, keep it chill, keep it mellow. I wouldn't start anything like any great projects, launch anything on these days in particular. With the solar eclipse and new moon, I would say maybe give it a few days. You know, I know that Mercury retrograde's happening on the 21st, but like, don't be scared of Mercury retrograde and deciding to set your intentions after it goes retrograde. Like, just make sure that you're really intentional and that you go back and like revisit, look over again, like, what am I creating? Or go back and look over again, like, what is my ritual that I'm creating and what I'm doing? Maybe give it till the weekend if you can, just till the energy is a little bit more stabilized, and that way, and you can still work with that build of the waxing energy from new to full, right? You can definitely still work with that. So that's what my suggestion would be. Now, to take a look at, because this is a collective reading, I'm sticking with this particular deck to kind of give us an idea of like how to focus, like what area of life, or like where to actually focus this this reading. And so what we have for you is the trine or the sextile. These are really beautiful kind of synergistic aspects that happen in astrology. And if you're not familiar with astrology, no worries, don't worry about it. You don't need to know anything about astrology. Suffice it to say that this is about two energies coming together and working together really beautifully in a very smooth and harmonious way. So now, obviously, that doesn't point to a specific area of life like work, or, you know, like some of them are more specific like that, right? It's like very much like this house or that house, right? But in this particular case, I feel like you're going to know, you yourself know what this makes the most sense for. And I'm trusting that that's how it is for you, is that you know what this is about. When it comes to this kind of synergistic energy, I think that you know where you need to, where the energy, not where you need to, but where the energy flows naturally. Like with whom and where in your life does this energy flow really naturally for you? Where do you find ease? Kind of like there are times where, yeah, you kind of need to push against the current to like get something done. And it's not always the case in life, but then there are other times where you just really go with like where the energy is open and easy, where things seem to just be opening up and unfolding, kind of like almost like breadcrumbs from the universe, right? It just kind of leads you in a direction. It's like, oh, this door opened over here. Let me follow that. This feels like wherever there feels like there's ease, like in connections, in communication, in projects, in opportunities that you're exploring as you're moving forward through this period of time. What I'm seeing here is you're being told to like go where there is ease of energy, where things seem to like work together very harmoniously, where there's just like this coming together of energies that is like helpful and assistive, right? And I know that that's not specific again, but that's what we've got going on here. Now, I wanted to take a look at what could be coming up during this particular eclipse part of the cycle. Often, not all of the time, but often we kind of see this like what is being ushered in the first eclipse, and then on May 5th when the next one happens, that's typically when we would see like it's kind of like the tide, what comes in and then what goes out, but it doesn't always work that way. The thing about like the eclipsing of the light, right, is that it casts shadows, and with this one in particular on the 19th, it's squaring Pluto. So all of the like shit that you sweep under the rug or push into the like dark, dusty corners of the recesses of your psyche and your life, you might feel those kind of like come up internally, or you might actually see those things like as themes coming forward for you. But we all have shadow work to do, meaning we all have like aspects of ourselves that feel like darker, that, you know, are limiting beliefs or whatever it is that we need to work with. And so this is a time to kind of like just be aware. And so while this particular shadow card may not resonate for every single Cancer that's out there, if this is your message, great. If not, then this is your sun sign. Check out your rising sign. Honestly, if you really want to get specific with it and not do a collective reading, I'd say book a personal reading to get like really nitty-gritty clear. But that information is down below. So for now, let's take a look at what shadow is coming up for you. And this is today for tomorrow, trading today for tomorrow, right? We can look at this a couple of different ways. I find it kind of interesting that it's these two girls holding hands together, and we have like we have Mercury going retrograde at the end of the week here. So, you know, like the twins, right? Gemini is ruled by Mercury as one of the signs. Anyway, that's just me geeking out. So here we have trading today for tomorrow, you know, and there are a couple of different ways we can look at this, right? It's like, you know, it's kind of like there are times in this world where I've done this, where I just kind of push things off for tomorrow because I just want to enjoy, like get some reprieve from the stress of life. I just want to enjoy my life today. I just want to have a break. I just want to put things like conversations and things off for tomorrow. And the thing is that when you keep pushing it off to tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow never really comes, you know? And then you wonder why things are still the same several months down the line, for instance, or years down the line even, right? So that's one way that we can look at it, is like not really like trading in the time that you have for tomorrow and kind of pushing that off, right? And then I think that there's another way to look at this, is like trading today for tomorrow in terms of like not just the procrastination aspect, but oh gosh, I'm losing my words. Like treating life like today is like the grasshopper and the ant. I don't know if you know that parable, but it's kind of like, oh, I'm just gonna like enjoy life, and like, why wouldn't I enjoy life? I'll just enjoy life and push off all the responsibility. So I guess it's like the same thing. It's just another way of saying like you can either push off responsibility till later on and just enjoy like what's happening right now, or you can, I guess I did say that. Sorry, you guys, like I just blanked on that. I was like, I thought I had two different meanings that come to mind for this, but I guess it's just one. Yeah, when you're trading today for tomorrow. So sorry. Forgive me. I'm like, am I already feeling the whole like astrology coming up this week already, or what? Maybe it's just late today. So anyway, forgive me for that. But yeah, I'm not going to edit that out. Whatever. I'm human. So that's what we have here, right? And you need to stop trading in your time for some future date. You know, you can't keep putting things off that need to be dealt with. I get the sense that there's some kind of communication that needs to happen, mainly because what I'm seeing with the King of Swords. Now, often we think about the Queen of Swords of being like more about the direct communication and what needs to, you know, be talked about with other people in a very direct way. The King of Swords, I feel like, also holds that energy, also holds like staying true to oneself and communicating those things. But I feel like the King of Swords actually does it in a way that is coming from like the philosopher's perspective. You know, the King of Swords is someone who is very intelligent about the way that he goes about enacting things or communicating things, right? And definitely comes from a more philosophical point of view in life. And I would say like that would maybe be beneficial, you know, it's really good for diplomatic interactions as well. So I feel like maybe there are some certain conversations or things that you're wanting to communicate or things that need to be taken care of that would need to be communicated. Now, if this isn't really feeling like this is about communication for you specifically, I would say that this also can be about taking swift, decisive action that is done very intelligently, right? So again, with Mercury retrograde, even though I say swift, like you can go quickly, but still double check your work, right? Like that's a possibility. So I would say that's the spiritual advice that I'm getting that I feel is connected to the astrology for this particular week. Now we're still working with this waxing energy of new to full moon, right? We're still working with that. So in order to kind of work with like what should you be seeding during this particular unique new moon to full moon waxing phase. And what we have is the 9 of Wands showing up. So, you know, for all of you like Cancerian warriors out there, right? You emotive warriors, right? I think like that this is something to pay attention to. you know, it's time to keep on going, to keep on pushing through. The energy might feel like it's slowing you down or feeling a little bit challenging. But what I'm seeing here is like, this is the time to keep going, keep pushing forward. Like, even if it's slower, one step at a time that you're taking, is just to put one foot in front of the other and do it. The other thing I really want to say here is that this card can represent taking care of your health. Sorry about the light glare, you guys. There you go. So this can also represent taking care of your health and really needing to pay attention to that, you know, during this time. That's one of the things that I will say as well about eclipses, is that it, you know, if you can put your self-care at the top of your list, like make it a top priority, get enough sleep, drink enough water, you know, eat vibrant foods as much as you can, like just do all the things that you can to really take care of yourself, so that you have reserve energy for, because like, you know, even if nothing crazy happens, like hopefully not, right? But even if nothing crazy happens, it's just, it can be energetically something that feels intense, which can be draining in some ways. So if you have the reserves to draw upon, I think it's just a better experience, right? So I would say taking care of your health. And then the spiritual advice that I see coming in here is don't rush in too quickly. So even if you are taking swift action, even if you are having to communicate things and you're like, I'm not going to put things off till tomorrow, I'm not going to do that. Great, that's awesome. But the Knight of Swords is often a little bit too impulsive, rushes in a little bit too quickly. Definitely like the foot in mouth kind of experience. Like, or just like kind of rushing into situations without double checking the facts or things of that nature. So this is one of those times where you want to make sure that you double check the facts, especially with all the astrology that's going on, but you can see it reflected here in the tarot cards. I really love how like when the cards really reflect, you know, what's actually happening in the astrology as well. So this is just something that I think, you know, to pay attention to, is like, there's still forward movement. It's still, and also like, let's just connect the Nine of Wands here to this symbiosis, to this like synergistic type of energy. When we're looking at these two together, what I see is like, hey, you know, if you're still feeling like it's like, okay, I need to take care of my health, but I have to like keep going, I can't stop, right? I gotta keep on trudging forward. Like make sure that you're going in the direction of like where the easiest flow is, like where there's ease of energy. Now, I'm not saying like take the easy way as in like make shortcuts that don't make sense and that are out of integrity and aren't going to work for you later in life. I mean, just like the path of ease and flow. And I think that that should maybe relieve some of any kind of like heaviness or tension that might come with that, right? But like, just don't put things off. But not putting things off doesn't mean rushing in too quickly. It means to like make sure that you still pause before you send that text, pause before, like, process your feelings and your thoughts before you have that conversation that you need to have, right? So that's what retrogrades are also pointing to as well. So I feel like that's pretty clear. I hope that that came through clear. You know, it was a little bit clunky with my thoughts and communication there and like glitching a little. So I apologize for that. I hope that this was clear for you. And definitely I would say, to get a more full, like rounded picture, check out the April reading for your sign. You know, go ahead and check that out. I'll have that up on the screen. So that, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.